Sorry, I was rocking out here. Thank you very much. I'm happy today. It's been a great show. Even the other hour was great, but this hour is destined to be great. My guest, Lyn Rowe, certified financial planner. You know what? I was just dancing around a little bit, but I remember when I first met you, you were actually a ballroom dancer, as I recall. Semi-professional, or was it professional?
No, not professional. I was still a financial planner, Ray.
Well, you can't do two careers. I was a singer and a financial planner.
Well, that's
once
true.
upon a time.
That's
Wasn't
true.
very good at either one of them back then.
That's not true.
Lyn Rowe, I was talking about you earlier and about how passionate you are. There are very few people in this world that are so passionate about their job, their profession, their career. And that's why so many people are unhappy in retirement when they leave work.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what they did in life was tied up with their work, and then they go to retire and they sit on the couch, veg out, have a heart attack, and die. You are amazing because you love working with, in particular, the elderly, but you work with all aspects, every age, but you really love older people. Can you just talk about that passion before we get into the stuff you want to talk about?
Absolutely. Well, you know, what I see is that folks are oftentimes vulnerable at that point in their lives because, like you say, they've handed the baton in their professional life off to someone else, and now all of a sudden they're faced with the unknowns. They don't know what things are going to cost when they retire. They're not quite sure where all the resources are going to come into play if they haven't done their planning. And that gets back to what we do and what we did. We help people, you know, we're the semi on the freeway that sees the accident 5 cars ahead, and the guy in front of him doesn't know anything. Okay, so we're like looking down that freeway going, you guys, pay attention.
You have a love for older people. A lot of individuals don't. You know, they think they're grumpy and et cetera, et cetera.
Well, they are.
I recall many times when we were back in the advisory business together many years ago, you would come to me and tell me stories about your 82-year-old, you didn't say client, you said friend, and you came in real sad one day because one of your 88-year-olds had just died and you were going to go to the funeral and all that stuff. How do you get that compassion?
It's placed in your heart by God, and there's no other way to describe it, Ray. I don't know.
Lyn Rowe, certified financial planner. I want my LTC.net is her website. She has lots of information, and she is one of the people you need to talk to at some point in your life. Now would be a really good time because you bring to them a different level of security and joy.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Well, the peace of mind, and you experienced it with Jeannie. Jeannie came to you one day and said, you know what, we need to do this because you had gone through an experience with friends of hers that needed care. And so she started looking at that and saying, well, what would I do? And she was kind of doing the fire drill in her mind. Well, that's what we try to do, is we try to help people do the fire drill. That's where the planning comes in, Ray.
You didn't tell the people that you had actually called her 5 minutes before she pitched me on that.
Did not.
And gave her that story.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
No, that is so true. And
now don't you both have peace of mind?
We have great peace of mind.
Yes.
I absolutely love my long-term care insurance policy. And Jeannie, if I wanted to cancel it, she would probably divorce me after 42 and a half years. No, I do, because it does give you a level of security.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that you know, we don't agree on everything, my wife and I. You'd think that after 42 years we would. We don't agree on everything. This thing we agree on.
Yeah.
We do not want to burden our children with ill health or having to support us in retirement or have to go home stressed out because mom or dad is an invalid.
Yeah.
We just don't want that.
Well, and you bring up a good point because, first of all, a couple needs to have that discussion. They need to talk about what they want, what their goals are. And that's what I oftentimes will do, is I will stimulate that conversation between the two of them.
Dangerous? little dangerous.
Yeah,
Stimulating conversations
yeah,
between
but, you know,
husbands and wives
they gotta
when one's
do
an
it.
Italian and
They
the other's a
gotta do
German.
it. I understand that, but they got to do it. And once they get eyeball to eyeball and say, well, this is what I want and this is what I want, then they can come to a meeting of the minds and create that plan together. And then the next step, of course, is to share it with the kids. That's oftentimes a flaw, and I encourage people, let's have a meeting with the family.
Okay, that brings up an important point. As you know, I love planning.
Yes.
Whether you're building a house, you need to have an architect draw the plans.
I learned from the genius. Yes.
And so on your website, to your credit, you have something called long-term care financial planning.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, it's approaching long-term care needs with the same principles and the same thought processes that you would do with planning for retirement, okay? Planning for kids' education. You go through the process of looking at all of the things that come into play with the planning. And then insurance is a component, it's a great tool, but it's part of the process.
As you know, I have spent a good part of my adult life and on the radio and television researching this topic of retirement.
Right.
And I love it. It's brought me a lot of ideas. I've written books based on research that I've done.
Yeah.
And every single research article and white paper on retirement that I've read in the last, I don't know, probably 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Every single one of them says this is a risk you must manage. Yet in real life, in dealing with clients, because 10 years ago I was dealing with clients. It's only been 5 years, 5 short years that I've been out of that business. But it was hard to convince people to do it.
Well, it is. And frankly, what I can tell you what financial, long-term care financial planning is not. It is not in your own mind saying, well, we've got enough assets, we're fine, we'll be good, and then discounting it from that point forward. Because no communication has taken place with husband and wife to say, okay, this is what you do if I become disabled, because you're not going to administer your own care at that point. It's not going to happen. You're delegating that to somebody else, and rightfully so. You can't do that. You can't go through the process of needing the care and then be your own caregiver. So you have people around you. You're going to need to have them understand what you want, and you need to share it with your spouse, and you need to share it with the kids, and they need to have a discussion.
I got thinking about, if something happened to me, well, Jeannie'd be there to take care of me because that's the kind of person she is. She's like you. She loves the elderly. She loves taking care of people. If something happened to her, I'm not as nice as her.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to go there.
No, I'm teasing. But money solves this problem. When we come back from the break,
Sure.
I want you to address the money aspect of this because there's lots of different ways to do this. You don't have to just settle on a traditional pay an annual premium, long-term care insurance policies. There's lots of different ways. There are ways for 35 and 45-year-olds. There are ways for 55 and 65-year-olds. And there are ways for 75 and 85-year-olds to solve the problem, to manage the risk. That's what I need you to focus on when we come back. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
I told you it's going to be a good segment.
Yeah.
I am caffeinated, though.
You are caffeinated, I can tell.
She wanted to bring me decaf today. I said, forget about it. 844-RAY Show. If you got a question for Lyn Rowe, I call her Lynny because we go back, 20 some odd years, a long time.
Don't keep rubbing it in, dear.
844-RAY Show. What's your website again? Oh, I want my LTC.net. We'll be back. Don't go away.